Hello and welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. Guys, 2025 isn't the year of the snake. It isn't the year of the dragon. It isn't the year of the monkey. Hear me out. It's the year of J3400 NACS. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So many vehicles have access to Tesla's supercharging network, and in 2025, so many vehicles will get access to Tesla's supercharging network, whether it's with J3400 or with NACS to CCS1 adapters. And just last week, Tesla updated their list of supported vehicles. Some other automakers have come forward saying that they're going to be getting NACS. So which ones are they? This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in this episode's description. We already know Ford, Rivian, General Motors with Chevy and Cadillac and GMC, Volvo, Polestar, Nissan with the Ariya have access to Tesla's supercharging network. But which ones are coming? We have BMW with the i4, the i5, the i7, the iX. We have Genesis with the G80 electrified, the GV70 electrified, and the GV60. And then we have Hyundai Kia, right? The EV6, the EV9. We have the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which already has native NACS. I should mention that. They're already selling native NACS, native J3400, Hyundai Ioniq 5s that you can buy at dealerships. There's already a couple at my local Hyundai dealership. And in fact, Kia is expected to follow with the EV6, as well as the EV9 and the Ioniq 9 are expected to get native NACS very soon as well. The only one left out is the Ioniq 6. We haven't heard much about what's going to happen there, but of course that's expected to follow. Then we have Jaguar Land Rover, which when I heard that, I was like, what EV does Jaguar Land Rover make? And then right, the I-Pace, the infamous I-Pace, came out in 2018. They have not touched it since. So you can actually get a Jaguar I-Pace for like $20,000 off MSRP. You can check your local Jaguar dealer. Actually kind of crazy. Their MSRP $72,000. They're selling for like $50,000 new. And then of course we have Lucid, which already has the Gravity with native NACS J3400. Thing though, they haven't delivered a lot of Gravities yet. They're still ramping it up. It is Lucid's second vehicle model. And then Mercedes-Benz, which says that they're going to be adding it to a few of their electric vehicles as well. I imagine it'll just be like the EQS, EQE, SUV, and sedans. And then the EQB SUV might get left out. But they said they're only going to be doing it for some of their electrified vehicles. So I think that kind of tells you they're probably just going to do it to their more like ground up EVs. But point is, right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 brands that are getting access to the Tesla supercharging network. And you're probably like, isn't that 15? Well, 16 because Jaguar and Land Rover are two separate, for one company, right, under Tata. But then Land Rover is going to come up with their own EV, which is expected to have native NACS. We'll see what happens. They actually released a video or a picture of the charge port of their future EV, and it had CCS1, which I don't understand how automakers can release vehicles in 2025 and still include J3400. I don't get it, to be honest with you. It just doesn't make any sense. But automakers are still doing it. We saw the Gen 2 Rivians, which those came out like last July. But at that point, I was like, I thought you guys would be the first with the NACS. Well, no, Rivian's going to be doing it in 2025. General Motors, we just saw the Blazer, right? We have the GMC Sierra EV, the Silverado. Those came out later last year. I thought as well. Okay, it's going to have native NACS. Nope. And then, of course, we're seeing refreshes of cars. Polestar, which just came out with a 3 and 4, which has been out longer in Europe, but now it's coming full spread in the United States. No native NACS. Same thing with Volvo with the EX30. The point is, you can tell that I don't understand, and I'm sure you're the same way, why automakers are making and delivering new cars that haven't yet start production or new model years that don't have native NACS. It should have been a thing already. And in the correct, quote, correct placement. driver's rear or passenger front. But with the introduction of the V4 Supercharger, that's going to become a non-issue pretty soon in the future. That could also be part of the reason why a lot of these automakers aren't giving their vehicles NACS. They're waiting for Tesla to expand the network to more V4s. But Tesla has thousands of superchargers across America. That's not going to happen in a year. So they might as well just do it now and put it in the right place. But let's talk about Hyundai and Kia for a second. Hyundai has already announced that they are going to be giving free NACS to CCS1 adapters to what seems to be all of their Ioniq owners. However, Kia, on the other hand, says that they're only giving free adapters to EV6s or EV9s bought on or after September 4th, 2024. So if you bought a Kia EV before September 4th, so just September 3rd and before that, you're going to have to buy your own adapter, and Kia is going to be selling their own for $249. Now, we don't know exactly what adapter Kia Hyundai are going to go for. If we go to their website for those watching, you'll see here that Kia is using, Hyundai precisely is using an Electron adapter. We've seen other automakers like GM and Ford actually go for Electron as well, while most OEMs originally actually went for this classic adapter. So for those listening, I have a Tesla mobile adapter in my hand. It's identical to the mobile dock that you would see at a V4 Supercharger or at the V3 Superchargers with these. But the point is, it is just a NACS to CCS1 adapter. This is the OG. This is the original. Other automakers are using some other third-party approved adapters sold by OEMs, and those are under warranty. So we don't know which one that Hyundai is going to be giving out, but that should be happening very soon, this quarter one, so by the end of March. But funny enough, it's kind of weird how Hyundai is giving adapters to all of their customers, while Kia is charging their customers if they didn't buy it on or after September 4th. Now, of course, we know the Ioniq 9 and the Ioniq 5 will have native NACS, but the EV6 will also have native NACS. The EV9 will be getting native NACS soon, but I imagine fairly soon. But Hyundai Kia will likely be one of the first automakers to have a full NACS lineup, right? We already have the Ioniq 9, which will start delivering very soon. We have the Ioniq 5, soon the Ioniq 6. The EV6 is around the corner with native NACS, which actually has a charge port in the, quote, correct position, right? The driver's rear, same place Tesla has it. And of course, the EV9 will get it very soon as well. So also pretty interesting, Hyundai Kias, they were able to charge on the Tesla Supercharging network with a loophole. So Tesla is allowing Tesla Superchargers to be used by Hyundai owners with native NACS. Now, what some owners were doing is because the underpinnings of the Ioniq 5 and the EV6 are identical, people have been going to Tesla Supercharger stations and plugging them in with starting the charge in the app, lying and saying that their EV6 is an Ioniq 5. Because it's pretty much the same vehicle, I guess the Tesla Supercharger saw the EV6 as an Ioniq 5, and it was like, cool, this is Ioniq 5, and it charged just fine. Now, Tesla has closed this loophole, but this is actually something we saw later last year as well. Honda Prologue owners were charging on the Tesla Supercharging network because they were lying and saying that lying sounds like such a mean word, but they were lying, saying that their Honda Prologue was a Blazer EV or Equinox EV, when in fact it is a Prologue. It's not a Blazer EV, but the underpinnings are the same. So to the Tesla Supercharging network, looks like the same car. But again, these loopholes have been closed, but it's very soon, right? Hyundai and Kia they'll be next to be getting access to the Tesla Supercharging network. So, as I said, right, 2025 is the year of NACS. So many automakers are going to be coming out with their free adapters, more adapters. Some are charging for them. But we're going to see a lot more of these. We are in the era of adapters, right? Something that Jordan from our Out of Spec team mentioned is that we are in like the stage from where, Apple changed the port from iPhone to USB-C, and they also had the point where they removed the aux cord, and so people had to use all of these adapters to, use headphones or use adapters to plug into different devices. It's a weird time, and that's what we're in with EVs. We're going to be seeing a lot more of these adapters, but I think the guess is by the end of 2025, most automakers will have native NACS, and so this will not be as much of a problem anymore. We'll just have a bunch of these laying around for EVs that don't have native NACS. So it's going to be interesting to see what the future looks like. I can't wait till I have my grandchildren, and this is in my office, and they're like, "Grandpa, what is this?" And I'm like, oh, child, you have no idea what we had to go through to charge our EVs back then, right? And they're like, "What's this giant port?" And it's a CCS1, and it's so big. And look at NACS, it's so small. And you guys used to charge with this big thing? Yeah. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. But the point is, I'm super excited for more J3400 NACS vehicles to come out. It's going to change the charging landscape. We already know that Tesla has the best charging network in North America. And, having access to that is amazing for selling more EVs. The more EVs with access to Tesla's supercharging network, the more we can say EVs have great charging infrastructure, which is a big problem right now, right? You ask someone about EVs and they'll likely mention the charging infrastructure. Really, the charging time thing is a whole other conversation, which honestly I think is misdirected. But infrastructure is a huge part of why I think EV adoption hasn't taken off. And it's the same reason why we see the Model Y and the Model 3 and the S and X sell so well, because they have the infrastructure in place. And so once more automakers have access to this infrastructure, I think we're going to see a big boom in EVs. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts. What automakers are we missing here? Off the top of my head, Honda and Acura are with one. So Acura hasn't made a statement, but I assume, right, they're the same company. So Acura will have access at the same time. Oh, Toyota with the BZ4X. VW and Honda have said this summer they're expecting to get access to Tesla's supercharging network. And so I imagine Porsche and Audi will get access to the network very soon thereafter as well. Anyone else that I may be forgetting, let me know down in the comments, and then we'll talk about it in our next episode about NACS. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Isaiah. This is the Out of Spec podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next one.